What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Player One versus the World and for the debut episode of StrangeCast, a podcast made for Life is Strange fans. I'm Adnan. You obviously know who I am, and I'm joined by Games and Groceries. Adam, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm so hyped to be on the show, dude. I'm great. We're going to be talking Life is Strange 3. Super hype. You know, I thought there could be an alternative name to this podcast, you know? It could essentially be called the Adcast, Adnan and Adam. Dumb joke to start, but yeah, man, I'm doing good.
Amazing. No, we can always go to that name at some point, depending on how this show pans out. But yeah, for context as well, guys, who's watching, I did a trailer reaction and I said in there, Adam invited me onto his show last year to talk about Life After Strange. He's a huge Life is Strange fan. I pitched him, decided to him. He loved it. I was all on board for it. And we had a structure in place for this first episode, but then all the trailer news happened and everything else happened. So we had to reshuffle the entire format. So you'll see the show keep changing over the next couple of weeks, months, and then when we got a good solid format, it'll kind of stick. But of course, leave feedback, leave any topics that you want in the comment sections. We'll try and cover them through the period that we go through this. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. And Adam, I don't want to kick this off with me because my trailer reaction's already on YouTube, but I want to know, what did you think of Life is Strange True Colors, the trailer?
So I didn't know what to expect from this because I was at work at the time. I was at my day job. And on my Discord for Games and Groceries, I'm just, I have a section for Life is Strange discussion. And all these people, they knew I was at work. They're like, oh, did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? I was like, this is the longest. I was there for an hour more. And I was like, this is going to be the longest hour. I was expecting to see your average Life is Strange. Okay, we're going to get more Life is Strange. So I went home, super hyped. And I don't want to say it floored me. It just impressed me. It very much impressed me. I like the way the character models look. I like the way the shading is. So on some faces, it's super realistic for what they can do. But yeah, I got a lot of impressions from it. And we're just talking about my reactions. I'm not going to talk about my theories or anything like that. But my initial reaction to it was, you know what? Deck 9 knows what they're doing. They did fantastic with Before the Storm. And they're coming back with this one, and I think they've learned their lessons from Before the Storm, and they're applying those lessons to this. And it's very evident from what I reacted to this trailer, if that makes any sense.
No, it does make sense because when I watched this, do you remember the Life is Strange 2 reveal they did with the backpack? It was a brief,
yes.
I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was expecting 40 minutes of a showcase to watch that and then just see that kind of preview. So when it the trailer hits and you just see, I don't do things where it's during the OTT or YouTube reactions. I'm literally just sitting there like this. So I'm in disbelief by what I'm watching in terms of as you said, the entire environment, the vibe. Do you when we talked about Tell Me Why? Because I was at the end of it, I was a little bit disappointed by the kind of how it had that kind of mystique of Life is Strange, but then it didn't have the full kind of distance that I wanted it to go. And then when I watched this, I was like, I expected, this is the kind of game I wanted to Tell Me Why to be. Is there was the mystery, there was the kind of the music, the environment, the characters. And I was so happy, and I was more happy for Deck 9 because they had they had a very divided community with Life is Strange fans because they were tapping into already established characters that Dontnod had made from the first game. But now they've kind of made their own town. They've got their own characters. They brought back one of their old characters for this as well. And they don't have to dabble in the Arcadia Bay characters that they've had that had to deal with last time and get kind of some backlash from fans where it's oh yeah. And I was so buzzing for them more in that part because I was yes, you deserve this. You deserve everything. You've now made a Life is Strange game, which feels for me, it's this is Deck 9's Life is Strange game. This is Dontnod's Life is Strange game. So you have two different developers that are working on it. Obviously, we don't know about Dontnod, but we'll kind of come on to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah. General impressions. I loved the trailer. I was so blown away by it.
You know what vibe I got from the trailer with the whole my brother was mysteriously, we don't know if he was murdered, killed, or he just died. We don't know. But then you get the sort of vibe of, have you ever seen the series Broadchurch?
Yes, I have.
I'm almost getting that. Season 1. Season 3 can go. That can go away. Bye-bye. Season 2 is fine. But season 1, it was a very a mysterious town, very friendly town, right? And a boy mysteriously died. But then, trust just goes out the window, right? Anybody's a suspect. And that's what the kind of vibe I got from it. A very small town, very friendly town, mysterious death, and now trust is going out the window. That's the kind of vibes I got from it. Might be wrong here, but that's what I saw.
I agree with you, but I'll also add on to that. It gave me the vibes from the first Life is Strange game where the disappearance of Rachel Amber was there. And it was like everyone, and as you said, like if you ever watched Scream, the first Scream, and Andy's like, everybody's a suspect. It's like, that was like the vibe I got, because it was like, yes, you've added the mystery element to the game, because that was never there in Before Storm. Before Storm was like Chloe Price, Rachel Amber, the story where they were just kind of like these two people kind of do it. It's the same with like Life is Strange too. I know where some of the problems come from. Obviously, I love it, the story, the kind of like journey that they have, but then it misses that mystery element that Life is Strange 1 had. And now this is kind of going back to that core of like, here's a mystery element. Something's happened. Ooh, is he actually dead? Is he not dead? Like, who's done this? And as you said, the murder mystery kind of game starts. And that was like my favorite thing about the first Life is Strange, where you saw like this Rachel Amber story is happening, but at the same time you have the Chloe and Max story happening. Then you have these characters coming into the fray. Then you have a red herring here, and it's kind of like so many different stories in this thing. I was really, really like impressed with that. So yeah, genuinely all for that. I also like Alex as well. Alex Chen, cool character. Fits with the vibe.
Yeah, she definitely fits well with the Life is Strange vibe. And I don't think we've ever had. No, that's not true. I was just thinking, like, have we ever had an Asian American character? That's not true. Well, yes, you're right. I was just thinking that, but I don't know why I didn't. But at least a playable character. So that's just another dynamic that we can really cover here. And I enjoy that this Life is Strange is going through all its representation, and then we get an Asian American to play this character, and I was thoroughly impressed with this. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to play with Alex Chen in this.
Yeah, I am as well. Like I like the character they kind of gave her that. I saw like a lot of people tweeting about it as well. There was a lot of people that said this character looks like me. It was quite funny that like from different spectrums, where it was like she just kind of like fitted with like a lot of people's look. And like I was a big fan of what was I going with this now? Lost my trail of thought. So Alex's power. I was a big fan of like because this game has had like a lot of leaks over the last couple of months. I don't know how much you've been looking at them, but like there've been a lot of leaks, and a lot of them were obviously about Alex, about an Asian American character, about Steph coming back, all this other stuff. And in that as well, like I think I read one of the latest leaks where it was like there's almost this idea that the character touches into people who have dementia and like can like explore through their lost thoughts. And I was like, that's a really quite an interest, like a bold theme to go with. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sit back for a minute. And I was kind of happy that this wasn't just, it's mind reading powers or it's just psychic powers. It's like that. And they kind of emphasize the fact that she has empathy powers, where it's like you can see from the vibe of someone. You have to feel the kind of like experiences, like, and then from that, you kind of like, you can read them from that. So I was like really, really, really sold on that power. I was like, yes. And I'm also quite happy that the power has shifted back to the player this time as well. Because like, again, with Life is Strange 2, it was like you took a lot of the other elements away from it, and it was like, I can kind of see where people were getting a bit frustrated. I wasn't, again, not too bad. I like Life is Strange. I enjoyed it. Life is Strange 2, sorry. But I can see
I'm on the opposite end. I didn't really much enjoy Life is Strange 2. So
did you not?
And like I said, like I'll play, the devil's advocate here. Not even devil's advocate. I'll just be devil in this podcast because I know you're a very kind-hearted person, and you like to see the good in a lot of things. I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm very pessimistic. I don't know. We can talk about that in another episode of like why I didn't hate it. I never even thought it was like a 2 out of 10. For me, it was more of like a 7 out of 10 kind of game. But yeah, I think this going back to you are the player character that has the power rather than observing the power. I think that was a good move to do. But I definitely agree with you on that. I agree with you on that point about Life is Strange too. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why. As I said, like I see it from both sides. Like Life is Strange 1 was always better than 2 for me, and I kind of like see where people are divided on that, because it just is such a different game. And like this one, as I said, like when I watched it, I was watching the entire thing, and the music, everything about it was like, it was taking me back to the first game, and it wasn't Arcadia Bay, but it was this new kind of universe, not universe, this new kind of town and setting. In the trailer as well, I feel like I'm going to pluck out one thing, which was Steph Gingrich coming back. Thank you, Katie, for coming on Life After Strange and completely lied to me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know it's all NDAs and stuff. And do you know what the funny part is, though? When I asked that question, because I knew Haley Hayes was going to be on my show as well, I kind of like, I've asked her that question once before in an interview. I was like, I wanted to ask her again, but like, but spice it up, because I know she's into the fiction of like, what does character hold? And then when I asked it, and I went back and watched the clip, I could see where she was like, she goes in a completely different side. She's like, I would love to explore her backstory and all this, and obviously try to avoid the fact that she's come back for it. But huge news. And I was a big fan that it was one of Deck Nine's own characters that has now gone from a supporting role into a bigger role in this game, because again, it is their game this point. On this, True Colors is their game. They kind of want to, they should put their foot down on it. And I'm all keen for Steph as well. I was a bit surprised though with how upcoming they were with, like, there's two romantic relationships you can explore with the game, because like they always kind of like slipped it into the other games, like obviously with Life is Strange 2 with Finn and Cassidy, you give Sean an option to do it, and then they never mentioned it in the trailer, but this one was like straight up like Steph or Ryan, you can have a love interest. And I was like, okay, get straight to the point, no messing around there.
And that's the thing with the Life is Strange community, a lot of people would love to romance Steph, and now I again, this is all taking the lessons from Before the Storm. It just feels like everything about this trailer. I think we're still on trailer reactions, are we? I don't know. But that's the thing. This whole vibe, it just felt like Before the Storm ×2. It took every lesson that they heard. They took all the player feedback. It seems like they really dove deep into the Life is Strange community of what they want from a game, and they put it into this. And the trailer of what we saw it just seems like that. It seems like they heard every feedback and they put it into this game, including romancing Steph. So that's great. I'm so happy for them.
Oh, absolutely. And I think like it the way it was responded, the way I saw like fans take to the trailer and everything else, it was very reassuring. It was kind of like hit my vibe on that of like what I expected and what I saw, and I'm very, very hyped for it. I've not been this hyped for Life is Strange game for a while in terms of like, obviously 2, I was kind of in and out of 2 because like I was like in a different time and place at that time. But like when I sat down and watched this, I was like, I want to pre-order this. I want to play it. There's so much details being released from this. I don't have anything else to say on the trailer. Do you? Like, is there anything else you want to pull out from there, or should we move on from it?
Yeah, in terms of reactions, I don't. I definitely have a lot of theories that I have. Not a lot. I have a couple theories, but in terms of just first impressions, reactions, I was definitely set. I'm with you. I wasn't really hyped for a Life is Strange game since the first one. Before the Storm, I was interested in like, oh, cool. But this one, like you said, I'm definitely all game for this one.
Yeah, I completely agree, because like Life is Strange was a phenomenon that not even Square Enix predicted. And like I hold myself to this, like, and it's still on Wikipedia and everything else. When I wrote my reviews for this game, I called it sleeper hit of 2015. It was a sleeper hit. No one ever thought about it, because I remember my first interest being put into the game, and they were kind of like doing little developer diaries. There was no kind of mainstream focus. They weren't even doing live streams. Live streams started coming down later on in the first Life is Strange, when like fans were suggesting him to do it, and like then the popularity took off. Like that was where it was like huge. And I remember like after each episode came out, people were like, oh, this is such a big game, this is such a cool game, and it blew up from that. But then it's kind of like just been there for me in the spectrum, where it's like kind of like just carried on, but it's never had that same buzz factor with it like what this one has done, where it's kind of like put it back on a bit more of like, ooh, Life is Strange is here. It's like a new generation of game. I kind of got that from the trailer. They were trying to sell it, and like this is the statement that I feel like Square Enix, Deck Nine needed, in terms of like, right, you're getting a fully fledged big Life is Strange game coming. We're going to kind of like give the series kind of like little soft reset, in terms of like we can kind of build from this platform and kind of move forward now, because we've already had like the Max and Chloe story. We've had the Sean and Daniel one. You can follow Max and Chloe's story in the comic book arc. So like this is kind of like I'm all game for like the way that they sold it on that.
Yeah, true. I could go on and on, but we should definitely move on to another segment, because we're just going to keep talking about this.
So the next part I want to pull you up on is specifics, and in terms of gameplay specifics and other things that we learned from after the trailer and like just them telling us things. One of them, which really caught my eye, was with freedom to explore. Did you hear that part of this? I was like,
yeah, almost like it's would you say it's more of an open hub? I guess you can say. You know, open explanation, open exploration in that kind of open hub area. And that's the thing. Not a lot of people appreciate the good open hub area and not just an open world. A lot of games can be open world, but to be a good open hub, I think it's just like a fine dish, you know, rather than a full meal, but it's just like you focus in on that and there's just so much going on. And in each chapter, you can just go anywhere and just try to solve a mystery. And in my last point I'll make, I don't want to take over the show. But what I do like about that is that is pretty significant in terms of replayability, because I'm sure there's going to be almost like Life is Strange 2, where there's kind of a timer of like what happens in the day, what happens in the night. You didn't find everything. You didn't talk to everybody. It's going to be like the first Life is Strange, where you just replay for hours and hours and hours, just trying to get different reactions from people. But I appreciate that.
No, I fully agree with you on that, because the open hub world is what you need now. Episodic format has you have to shake it up now, because there's an example why Telltale died a painful death and has now come back, but we don't even know what they're doing with The Wolf Among Us 2 yet. It's been delayed, and they kind of like, when we see what they do, it's going to have to be a new Telltale style, because that episodic format, I've played like The Walking Dead like on my PS5 like last couple of times, the Telltale one, because I'm trying to get the platinum on like multiple regions. But when you play it, it's so linear. It's like to the point where you literally walk around, like pick up 1 or 2, 3 things. And the same if you went and played like Life is Strange 1. Now it'd be like you're walking in a very straight path, picking up things, looking at them, doing the same things. But you need that kind of freedom to give the character to explore. You keep the episodic format, you refresh it, give it a new kind of like aesthetic, face, everything else like that. Give it a nice facelift, and it'll just be an incredibly new experience. That's the first thing that caught me in that trail. Like when I was watching it and like hearing details, like I heard Zach Garis like say, "Oh, it's going to be, you have freedom to explore." I was like, wow. And you even see this clip where Alex is walking down the street and there's people. I was like, yes. I was like, this is what I want in a game like that. It's like I want more time to like kind of explore, see the world. You built an incredible like art direction, visuals. Like I want those kind of moments for it. Because it had it in the first Life is Strange with Blackwell. You can walk around, little hub, you walk around, you can see things, but even then it was limited, and that was obviously 2015, different story and all that other stuff. But yeah, I was like really sold on that mechanic. So like for me, it's like a thumbs up with that.
And that's the thing. It's I think, and you bring it back to the first Life is Strange. Blackwell Academy was a great example of an open hub area, and that's how you remember that. You remember Blackwell Academy. You significantly remember that because you make so many memories from it because you're focused in on that open hub area. Versus Life is Strange 2, you were in different areas of the country. And it all was for the purposes of the story. They were going to, what's the city in Mexico?
Puerto Lobos.
Thank you. They were going down there, and for the purpose of the story, I get it. You couldn't have that memorable. But when we're talking about a really good open hub area, we're going to get the same kind of memories we did with Blackwell Academy as we will with Haven. Haven, Colorado. I try to rep Colorado here, but I appreciate that because again, the player is going to remember every single detail about Haven, whereas Life is Strange 2's open hub area, you didn't spend a lot of time there, so there's not a lot of time to really build that connection to it. If that makes sense.
No, exactly that, and that connects with the idea that this is no longer episodic, and I say episodic in that sense because like they say it's they've reworked it now completely.
Yeah,
in
it's
terms
still
of,
like chapters, right?
Yeah, so it's 5 chapters in the game. It's a fully fledged game. It's been released all at launch, and they do it episodic in that, but there's no like space in between it, which was a complete shock to me because like even with the state of where episodic gaming is at, even with like Telltale's kind of like that that first initial collapse that they had and like their revival, but like the kind of landscape that they released episodes, I thought that they would try and even do Tell Me Why style, where it's like a week apart at least, or like maybe a month apart. But I didn't expect it when they said like, "Oh, you get all episodes now, you can play it like this." I was like, I was like, okay, this is...
And I feel like that's more of an experimental thing because, okay, so I'm going to throw this out here. Okay, can I throw out a theory real quick in terms of like the business model here? First and foremost, I think me and you can both agree, this isn't really Life is Strange 3. This is like Before the Storm. We agree on that point where this is not Life is Strange 3, but this is within the same universe, right?
I'll let you continue, but I would compare it to The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. So you had Walking Dead Season 1, Season 2, A New Frontier, then the final season. So, but yeah, let you carry on.
Yeah, exactly. It's a spin-off, but within the same universe. It's not like a spin-off in terms of a prequel, right? Yeah. But it's a spin-off, but within the same timeline. Mm-hmm. So because it's a spin-off, right, I feel like, and again, they're bringing us to Deck 9 for an experiment, right? We saw this with Life is Strange 2, where we had the longest wait times for episodes that I've ever experienced. Maybe I'm wrong, but those were really long wait times for each episode, where you almost forgot about what happened in the first one. And then you get to tell me why, which, like you were saying, is weekly, right? Yep. And that was another experiment. Now they're going for a spin-off, right? For argument's sake. And they're doing it one at a time. And I feel like Dontnod right now is observing, right? There's two parts to this. They're probably observing of how fans take to this, how much playtime they've had, how much replayability because they have all the episodes. And they're looking at the format between weekly and just releasing all at once. Because I have a feeling Life is Strange 3 is coming in 2022. But if they span out all these 5 episodes, right, that's going to lapse into 2022 probably. And then that's going to affect the marketing for Life is Strange 3. So I think that they're putting it all together just to see the deal with marketing. Does that make? I know I said this all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'll pull you up on my theory in a minute. But like, do you think we'll get another Life is Strange game in 2022?
Oh, I believe so. I mean, what was the? I'm trying to think. When did Before the Storm came out?
2017.
2017. When did we get Life is Strange 2?
2018.
So like there was a year lapse there. There was this little spin-off, and then we got another mainline entry into the game. Yeah. Me and you discussed, did we discuss it on the show or off the show of Games and Groceries? We discussed that the reason why Dontnod went over to Montreal. Yeah, Montreal, is because they're working on a bigger expansion of Life is Strange. So what if it's a lot like that, where Before the Storm came out 1 year before Life is Strange 2, they're doing this as an experimental, just releasing all at once, see what happens, because they don't want to lapse the time frame for Life is Strange 3 that's happening in, I'll say it, July 2022.
It's an early prediction that. The team in Montreal, the team in Montreal making a new IP though. So like that's Luke, Michelle. Right. In that as well though, there are 6 games in development at Dontnod when they did their
You're also
thingy.
right.
So like, and from what I know, obviously I know that Luke is in Montreal. Michelle has moved to Montreal later in that, and they're spearheading that. I have no idea about Raoul Barbet. Raoul Barbet was the co-director on the first 2 Life is Strange games. Like he could still be in France. They could be developing another game from this. To put it into perspective, I think you're agreeing, but I kind of put you in my thing. I think this episodic change has come about with where we're at the times. 2021, Netflix is now the boomer where you get all your episodes at once. You kind of watch that. It's the same with like when was it Square Enix did it with the Hitman game, where they split it into episodes and then kind of like released it very quick? I think they might release it very quick, but like, you know, they had a full game, then
fairly quickly, in comparison to Life is Strange 2,
it's like they had like a full game. They split up. Capcom have done it with Resident Evil Revelations, where they had a full game and they split up into episodes. So I think that's kind of a big part of it. And so the first Life is Strange, when they were talking to Michel about it, he said that there was always an 8-week time window that they tried to hit with episodes. And you could do that with that game because it was very simple. Like you said with Life is Strange 2, I pulled up on Wikipedia here just for the dates. So episode 1 Rules came out in 2018, September. Then January 2019, you get episode 2 Rules.
That's
in
right.
May 2019, you get Wastelands. In August, you get Episode 4 Faith, and then in December, you get Episode 5 Wolves. So there was that increase.
This was pre-COVID too. Like this was, yeah.
Exactly, and that reminds me of like I think it was the Tales from the Borderlands. Tales from the Borderlands is one of the best episodic games ever made, but the space between episode 1 to 2 is like, and you're like, oh my god, it's like it was such a weird development phase for Telltale. Yeah. So you have to keep episodic very close because people are like, you want to kind of keep them interested. That's what was so great with the first Life is Strange. It was like, here's an episode, 8 weeks later, there's another one. The building hype starts. You can kind of remember things, but I remember going back to some of these games. I was like, what's even happened? It's like it's been that long. Like I don't really want to play the episode again, but like. You know, I'd rather like just have it in a reasonable time window. And I thought maybe like with this one, they might have just done it like a week apart at least, or maybe 2 weeks.
Tell me why,
apart.
like you said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So it's mad for that. And, you know, even with like Tell Me Why coming out, this, so in that stream as well, in the details, Zach Garis said that this game's been in development since 2017. We've had Tell Me Why come out last year. That was a brother and, that was twins. Yeah. This is a brother and sister. I was like, there's so many parallels. And I remember like rumors from the forums where it's like, oh, it's like, this is crazy. Like how,
yeah. And for me personally, I played all the Tell Me Whys individually. And then I had episodes on each one, podcast episodes on each one. I didn't like having a video game releasing every single week because a video game, unlike a show, it needs to be really developed, and sometimes you don't have time in the week to really sink into that. It gives you kind of a little bit of pressure to like finish everything within that week, which is enough time for what was it, like 3.5 hour episode, but not a lot of people have a lot of time anymore. But I didn't like it personally, but that's just one man's opinion. I also gave Life is Strange 2 a 7 out of 10, so don't take my word for it. But that's just my opinion. But I do appreciate it that they're releasing them all in the same package. But I also will miss just waiting for episodes. You know, it's kind of like I appreciate it, but I'll also miss it. You know,
it's that old school gamer mentality. Even like I'm a little bit like that. Like I just want that feel, the buzz. Because like I played Tell Me Why after all 3 episodes came out, and I played through. I was like, okay, I was a little bit underwhelmed by the end of it. But I was like, the marketing was so quick for it. And I was like, you didn't really have enough time to kind of like feed people a bit more and kind of keep them enthusiastic over the course of like a couple of months or years. But this could go back to what you said about where Square might be changing their strategy of like getting a new Life is Strange game coming out and kind of like just getting things in rolling and get things, you know, get the wheels rolling and don't run the campaign for like 6 or 7 months. This is like just off that thought, because we'll see more games get delayed this year. Gotham Knights just got delayed. And apparently this game was meant to come out last year, I think, from what I can tell, like just research digging wise. Like this is what I've done. Fun fact as well, if you're listening to this podcast, I believe that the code name for this game was called Project Siren. So
was it?
Yeah, I've done some digging and I've found that whilst I do my digging and stuff like that. So this,
I'm going into theory. So okay, no. Continue. I'm okay.
Yeah, so that is a code name for one of the Deck 9 games that they're working on, and I think I don't know if they're working on more than one, but if they are just working on one, then Project Siren does seem right. And then I think if your reaction as well, your theory that you probably have, I think you should speak about it now, even if it takes us a little bit off diversion.
Okay, I will make this very quickly. So like I said, I gave my reactions to the trailers, but now like I've seen it, I don't know, 10,000 times. I didn't really count, but I think, yes, we will have empathy involved. Like that's going to be a major part. But another huge part about this game is going to be music. It's going to be straight up music. It's going to play this massive role for a couple different reasons. One, most importantly, we're going to talk about this in another topic, but Erica Mori, right? She voiced and mocapped. Why did they get a separate singing voice? She's voicing and mocapping. Why did they get a separate singing voice? A lot to do with music. In the trailer, we see Steph Gingrich in front of a recording microphone, and then she says, "This is for you, Gabe." Gabe was the brother, yes? Yeah. "This is for you, Gabe." It almost like setting up for like a radio song right here. You get the guitar, you get the singing. We're going to talk about Steph's DLC, which is called Wavelengths, right? And now that you say that the code name was called Sirens, the Siren song, this is straight up going to be like half the game is going to be about creating music and empathy. And I'm getting goosebumps. I'm so excited. I was a musician back in the day. Now I don't know why I'm not, but it just gets me a little bit tingly on the inside to think about that. This is probably going to be a huge role with music and how that affects empathy in people. So that's just my very brief theory. Okay, I'm going away now. I'm done.
No, I like the theory though, because like it makes sense. Like, because obviously then when they showed Alex with the guitar, and it was like people pulling images of Ellie from The Last of Us Part 2 with her guitar, and I was like, please don't make this a cliche with like every character that's in that kind of sense, but they have a guitar. Like we've already had Ellen Page do it in Beyond Two Souls, but the fact that you put it in that context. And the music, as you said, like the music was there. It was booming through the entire trailer. Radiohead, Creep, like, they were doing certain things. Like, I completely agree with you that there is that kind of element. And if you go back to Before the Storm as well, remember the theories that came about with Rachel Amber the minute she screams in the first episode? It was like a whirlwind of like, does she have powers? Does she not have powers? The emphasis of the scream, the music that was playing during that first scene. There was so much about it where you can pick it apart if you went to that scene, then put it into the context of this, like what you're saying. So completely understand with that. So I'm going to go into two more points in the game specifics, and then we'll kind of move on from this. So the other one is that Zach Garris is going to be the director on the game. So he was the writer on Before the Storm and lead designer. Well, no, sorry, he was a game designer on Before the Storm as well. So it's kind of a big change. Chris Floyd is no longer at Deck 9, and Webb is not directing either. They were the co-directors on the game, both lovely people as well. But like they're not involved in that kind of capacity. I know Webb has done a lot of the motion capture scenes as well. He was down like when Games Industry Biz, I think, did an interview with him. Like he was on the screen. If you go back look at it, so he's obviously still involved with it and everything else like that. So that's a big change in that. I don't really have much to say on that because obviously I want to see more from Garris in terms of what his direction style will take. And I wish him the best of luck with that as well, because as I said, he's caught my attention and he's kind of like really rejuvenated my interest in like Life is Strange in the way that he's done it. So completely in game with that. But the other big change was that full performance capture technology will be used for this game, and it's all in-house at Deck 9. Massive. I am so happy with this. Adam, I cannot tell you.
And this is all within Deck 9 Studio. This isn't like Square Enix that they kind of rent out Quantum Theory's mocap. This is all within Deck 9 Studio.
Yeah.
In Colorado, which we saw Katie Bentz. Listen, Katie, if you're listening to this, okay, you fooled me, but no more, Katie. Anyways, but
cuts deep, Katie, isn't it? It just cuts you deep.
It just cuts me deep. I thought we were friends, Katie. Come on now. But when she was saying that she was going back and forth to Colorado, it really does put a lot of emphasis to like this is just not just a love letter to Life is Strange, but love letter to gaming, because they're really taking time to really broaden their technology and make a really good video game. Doing it in-house, getting actual actors to mocap, not like kind of renting them. This is huge for it. I'm very excited for it. I don't know if I can tell, but yeah.
No, I'm fully agreeing with you on that, because obviously Life After Strange, we've done so many interviews now with the mocap from the early ones with Serena and Gabriella. They were kind of like more like the mannerisms and stuff. And then you saw with like Life is Strange 1, the criticism now, like I was reviewing it. I'm like one of the reviewers where you can go and see the review criticisms on like Wikipedia, and you'll see my name there. Was like criticizing lip syncing, and a lot of other people did as well. Like facial animations was poor in Life is Strange earlier on, and same with like Before the Storm as well. Again, it was like they were shooting just like capturing motion capture and feels like, but like games have evolved in that. And like when I said earlier on with the trailer that they were selling it as like a new generation of Life is Strange, a next gen Life is Strange game, it feels like it's like, let's use the technology, let's build it. Get the faces. You have to do it with this as well. Your storytelling, you have to get the kind of like people's faces. Like for me, like I only have to go back and like watch Death Stranding, like the scenes with like Tommy Earl Jenkins, and I'm like, like the acting is like you're taking acting and like matching things you see in films now and TVs that you can compete on that level. So for them to do this and to announce it in the trailer, I was like, yes. And I kind of saw it as well in the trailer, like what the characters were moving, and I think they showed Was it Erica?
Erica Mori, yeah.
Yeah, Erica Mori. I'm still getting used to the name. But Erica, where she's like playing on the broom, and it was like, and she's like getting into it, and you obviously see the character capture. I was like, yep. I was like, spot on, perfect, great way to do this, and I'm very excited for that part.
Yeah, I'm hugely excited because like I think Deck Nine's a pretty small team in comparison to other studios. And this isn't, and of course, so you brought up Death Stranding, and of course, Kojima Studios, yes, is a small studio as well, but it's backed by Hideo Kojima, like a veteran, right, in the games industry. And Deck Nine knows what they're doing, but for a small team like Deck Nine to get this much detail and this much passion behind, this huge of a series at this point, it pays a huge homage of respect for the Life is Strange fans as well, to actually give them a game that they'll actually fall in love with and to relate to, rather than Uncanny Valley, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I'm as I said, like I fully believe this is like the next generation Life is Strange game, and it kind of like needs to happen. I'm going to transition into music now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I want to bring this up as well because you were so keen on this. As you said, like, you know, Erica's not doing the singing. Maya or MXM2, I don't know how to pronounce her name. And
I don't know either. I tried to find that out too, but I couldn't.
Yeah. But she's also known as Maya. So like I'm going to go with Maya. Hopefully I don't butcher that. But she's singing Erica's voice. Obviously we heard Creep, Radiohead cover in the trailer, which was really cool. And the OST licensed music, so Radiohead, Phoebe Bridgers, Gabriella Aplin, and more. So like that. No Daughter, no Jonathan Morelli from Sid Meier's.
I love Daughter, dude. I got the vinyl of the Before the Storm. It's in the other room, but I love Daughter's soundtrack. But you know, again, I appreciate that they're going with different artists that we can discover and really appreciate on this one.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, nice licensed selection of music. I don't know if we know who the composer is at the time of this recording, like writing.
I don't think I saw it recording.
So I don't think we like know who it is yet. But I'd like them to have like a nice balance of like original music. This was the problem that I had with the first Life is Strange. Like I wrote in my review once, where I was like, I love the music. Sid Meier's, Jonathan Morelli, he was like pulling some great licensed tracks in there, like the way they were doing things. But then it kind of like didn't go with like the original scores at time. And then you go and look at Before the Storm and what Daughter did for like Deck Nine, and some of the music that was playing during that game was just like so harrowing and sometimes so like beautifully like poetic and everything about it. So like hopefully they kind of go with that. They kind of have these kind of moments where they have licensed tracks, the covers. I like that they covered Radiohead Creep. That's great. Like so cool. So I'm all in favor for that. I mean, if they announce Hayley Williams as a composer, I'll be very happy with that. Like,
that would be so cool.
Yeah, after she went solo with like this, obviously she's still part of Paramore, but like with her solo,
albums, Paramore's like, coming out with a new album, I think now.
Yeah, and like she did her Petals for Armor stuff and like that, and it was the album that I wanted when I was 14 years old. I was like, she can do music on her own, and it was unreal, like just the sound, everything.
What if? Hear me out. What if they land Hannah Tell as one of the musicians? Can you imagine that, Hannah Tell being one of the musicians behind? Oh, I would lose my mind. Oh my god! Do you know
what? I think they should have just done that for the fan factor. She's very good at music anyway. But imagine that they would have broken the internet if they got like her to record an original song for this. Like it would have been massive. Like
maybe they have, and they're just not telling us because there was so much information given to us all at once. And it's just like that Nintendo, like one more thing, and it's just like Hannah Tell comes out like, I'm writing a whole soundtrack, y'all. And it's just like. That'd be great. There's a lot of time between now and September 10th, and you know they just say this artist and more. You know, so you know there's still room to tell us that Hannah Tell.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like general sense. So like my music, I'm keen for it. I like it. I like that they're keeping the music aesthetic, but they do with Life is Strange since the first game, and this is carrying on in this game. So I'm all in favor of that. Adam. We're going to go into release information. So I've got a couple of things here that really struck me. It's like, obviously, fully fledged game comes out on September 10th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Stadia, but no Nintendo Switch.
I saw that, and I'm very upset. In a way of just like, I don't want to say Life is Strange is perfect for the Switch, because there's a lot of games that are defined as perfect for the Switch, which is every single game ever made. But it's just interesting how this is being ignored. And Square Enix has a great relationship with Nintendo. I mean, Wasn't Octopath Traveler Square Enix, if I'm right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll check that out whilst you talk.
Yeah, it's not like Square Enix doesn't like Nintendo, but it's just very odd that it's not on the Switch.
It might be Square Enix.
Is it Square Enix? I keep calling it Enix.
Square Enix, yeah. Octopath.
I'll just leave now. Bye-bye. Square Enix. It's just weird. I don't feel upset by it, but it's just why at this point? Why ignore the Switch? It's just weird.
No, I'm going to go back on what you said. I think it's the perfect game for Switch because, like, we'll come on to the Remastered Collection, but that's not even on Switch. It's like, how? It's like these games. If I was like back in the day when I was like reviewing these kind of games, and like, I played Life is Strange on the iPad when it was iOS ported, and I reviewed it and stuff like that. And when I played it on iOS, I was like, this is kind of the game I want on Switch. And I was like,
that's right. It's on your phone. It's on your phone.
Yeah, and I was like, when I saw this, I was like, True Colors, right? Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, all the other consoles out. And then I was like, no Switch. I was like, huh? I was like, it just, for me, it is just strange in that sense. I was like, I don't get it. I was like, it should be on Switch.
You might just say that life is strange. So that's why it's so strange. No, it is because like even just the demographic that holds the Switch, I'm not going to generalize the Switch audience because that's horrible to do to people, but to generalize people. But really, they do play a lot of what do you call them? Not graphic novels. What are they called it's like a Japanese game where it's all subtext. It's very story based. Oh no, I can't remember the genre, but
I know exactly what genre it is. I can't
remember it. Whatever. The audience knows what I'm talking about. But they play a lot of those games. And in fact, we're bringing some more of those kinds of games onto the Switch. Life is Strange is very much to that audience point of who plays Switch. It is very much a Switch audience kind of game.
Yeah.
More than Xbox, if I can argue. And I'm an Xbox fanboy. I think it speaks more to Switch users than it does Xbox. But that's just me, which is also why I thought it was weird tell me why it was exclusive to the Xbox. That was really, now it benefited me because, again, Xbox fanboy.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was so weird to only put it on Xbox. But I definitely think True Colors should be on Switch. It definitely should be. Don't know why they're doing it. Maybe for a later date. I don't know.
Maybe, but it's just interesting because, like, obviously, I know like a lot of the community of like people being like one day. I saw like one on a Reddit post where someone was like one day had like Life is Strange on the Switch. Someone had put like a picture down there. And I was like, it kind of makes sense for me. And like as you said, like the entire like idea that Microsoft even bankrolled Tell Me Why is like baffling to me still beyond belief because I'm like it's kind of the game that I never expected to be an exclusive on Xbox. And obviously with Square Enix, this is like a multi-platform series. Like in games, you'd kind of just expect that. So that is surprising in itself. And I'll come on to the Remastered Collection a little bit about that as well, with the Switch port not being there either, which is, again, weird. But in that as well, I pulled up some other things. We talked about the episodic things. I'll skip over that.
Yeah.
I've got one pre-order bonus for any edition, which includes the Alex outfit pack. Adds one optional outfit in Alex's wardrobe in each of the first 4 chapters. I'm all game for that. So if you pre-order, you get a nice little freebie there. So we have 3 editions. We have Standard Edition, which is $60. The Deluxe Edition, which is $70, and $80 for the Ultimate Edition. That's fairly pricey in some sense as well. Deluxe Edition includes the DLC Life is Strange Wavelengths, which is a bonus story featuring Steph. I will let you take it from here if you want to start with your thoughts in general, like this DLC, Steph getting her own episode.
I think, and someone pointed out, I think I read the comments on your reaction video. By the way, great video, by the way. I think you hit every single point. I think it was a great reaction to it, a really good first impressions. I saw some commenters, kind of saying like, oh, well, we got this information. It's a first impression. It's a reaction.
Yeah. I was literally editing it so fast, and I had goosebumps on my arms. Like, genuinely, I was like so caught by it. I was like, I just kind of need to give my thoughts. That's why I kind of skip things. I was like, and we'll come to StrangeCast, and then you can kind of hear my full thoughts. I'll bring Adam on. We can kind of have a good conversation. But back to you. I'll let you have this.
But I saw one of those commenters that this is very similar to the way Before the Storm works, and there was a max DLC, almost a max DLC, where you could replay a scene from Life is Strange 1 in terms of farewell, right? And this kind of reminds me of that too. Like the commenter, I don't want to take credit for it because there was a commenter, can't remember the person's name, but I think that's what we're going to get. And if I'm thinking correctly, right, wavelengths, we're probably not going to get an explanation, a full explanation of why Steph is ending up in Colorado. If we're ending up from Oregon in the Bayside area to probably the middle of Colorado, which is about a 20-hour drive from Bayside to Denver. I know because I Googled it. I was just curious. But we don't know why she left all the way from Bayside, Oregon to here. Wavelengths might give that final we might go back into Before the Storm, like play a certain scene in Before the Storm and give a reason why she had to move to Haven. And, why she's picking up a music career, So I think this DLC will offer more explanation of the story rather than a needed piece. And that's why they're putting it in the deluxe and ultimate, not the standard edition. But I'm not going to say it. If that makes sense. Okay. But
no, I agree with you. I like the idea that they're doing the episode with Steph because, I think now that you've established, I don't know where it fits though. Like, would you play it before the game? Would you finish it after the game?
Are you talking about the Steph DLC? Yeah,
so Wavelengths, would you play it before you play the first 5 chapters, or would you play it after the 5 chapters? Like, I've not got full context on this yet.
Well, that's the thing. If my theory is correct, which they never are, but if my theory is correct that it gives explanation of why she moved to Haven, I think it could play either one. You could play it as kind of a prequel to the game, but you could also play it as, an epilogue or an explanation of the game. So I think if my theory is right on that, I think if they set it up in the right way, you could play it before or after, before as being a setup or after as being explanation. If that makes
okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll take you up on that because I think that's fair game if they go that way. So yeah, I like that because if they are putting Steph in this bigger role as they are, she needs that kind of extra layer to her and kind of exploration of they're taking their own original character, they're taking out of Arcadia Bay. Arcadia Bay gets destroyed. I kind of spoke to Haley Hayes about her character. My mind was what do you kind of expect them to do in the future and stuff like that. I know. I don't trust them now. I don't trust any of these actors. They've been lying. Don't know if she's been involved in this or not, but we'll find out. Same with all the others. But yeah, I'm only joking. But yeah, right. even with Steph, I'm intrigued with it. And as you said, the music change as well. That. Why did she go to the music? What is it about it? Who influenced that? And I think there's obviously when I read some of the description of this DLC, it seems like a lot more obviously heavy focused on music. Again, fitting with the theory that you have, all the other stuff that's going on, wavelengths, the kind of the massive idea that the music's going to play such a big role in this. So intrigued with that, and obviously full game, so we get the DLC as well. So I'll take that. And then in the Ultimate Edition, you get Life is Strange Remastered Collection, and I've said that because we're transitioning on to Life is Strange Remastered Collection.
Yes, I'm
big
so
news.
Excited. Yeah,
right. So big news. I expected them to announce a remastered. It just seemed right for the time being, but there were some issues that I had with this as well in terms of. So it bundles Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm.
Yeah,
this isn't coming to PS5 or Xbox Series X.
What?
Yeah,
the remastered?
Yeah.
What?
So unless GameSpot has got this wrong, or I looked everywhere else, it's out on PC, Stadia, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4.
It's on Stadia, but not on Xbox Series
or Switch. So none of the current generation consoles that have just come out, none of them are getting this remaster.
That's okay. So I missed that news, and you're right. GameSpot is pretty.
Give me a full spot. Give me your.
Well, that's the thing. It's just it's a remaster. So why can't you even? Okay, so obviously, it's going to be backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So, wait. Okay, I'm just kind of having a mind melt because it's
mad, isn't it?
Because if the True Colors is coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series X and PS5. But the Ultimate Edition really only works for Xbox One then and PS4 because, you're getting the remaster because it's technically not
Well, we're going to a convo there, which could go on for hours, because I don't believe that we've seen a fully fledged next current gen game yet. Until they start making games just for those consoles, I don't think you're going to see it, because the cross developments are hindering it. Like I've listened to Colin Moriarty's podcast. You should go and watch it as well. He talked about this kind of idea that it's not being selfish or entitled and stuff like that, but it's like you have to leave the last generation behind, because you're not going to get full experience from this, because they're making it for two different consoles. And you see the kind of like the limitations of it. But for me, for them to not announce this on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and give
weird.
It that, and that's why
I'm not
like,
upset about it. It's just very confusing. Of like, why? I mean, that's what. I mean, let me ask you: Do you have a next gen console?
Indeed, I have my PS5 right there.
Never mind. I haven't upgraded. I'm still. I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm so financially acceptable. I'm saving up for a large move. So I just for personally, I didn't decide like, okay, that $500 can go towards the large move once I get out there. Oh yeah, I'm getting a Series X.
Well, Adam, sorry, but to interrupt you as well, you're not missing out on much now. This is the conversation
I heard.
People keep saying to me like, I wish I had a PS5. I'm like, for performance, it's great, but I'm not playing anything at the minute, because like there's no games that are like exclusive to that console.
Exactly.
Like, what are you missing? You can go and play Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS4. It's limited. You can see the technology as well. It still feels like a PS4 Pro game in parts. So like that's what I mean. Like if you wait for Xbox and want to let it drop in price and you do your other things and get like a new house and then wait for the sales date, you'd be like, yeah, fuck, just do it.
Exactly.
But like, sorry, I just find it weird though with the remastered collection.
What's frustrating about that? I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no.
What's most frustrating about that? I'm gonna look into the Skyrim Special Edition when that came out. The reason why that came out is because Fallout 4 was about to come out in 2015. No. Yeah, it was coming out in 2015. Skyrim Special Edition came out in 2016. But what they did for that is that they pretty much took Skyrim's code and they actually put it through Fallout 4's newest engine, kind of like a test run, like, oh, how does this game play out? And what they got was, a remastered essentially of Skyrim. And so they released as a special edition because cha-ching, why not sell it?
Of course.
So if that's the case, it was just Skyrim put into Fallout 4's new engine, right? I'm thinking, my personal thing is that this is a brand new engine. This looks fantastic. I'm talking about True Colors here. What they most likely did is that same kind of treatment with Skyrim Special Edition. They just kind of put it through. So if True Colors is made for PS5, Xbox Series X, right? If that is the case, then it's the same engine that would still work. So why not put that remaster? Why wouldn't that work? It's still going to work because of backwards compatibility, but that's the thing. I'm kind of like having like a mental kind of frustration of like, wait, but like, how is this not? So, I don't know.
It's weird, isn't it? Because like Life is Strange is already available on PS4. It has a PS4 edition. I have the PS4 edition here. Life is Strange PS4 physical edition. It's like, why are you not?
It's so weird.
Like,
there's no way. There's no way.
I'm only stressing this, like, if you're listening, you like just be like, just get on with things on this podcast. We're just speaking about it in the context of that, because like, it's missing that. Then it's missing Switch port. I was convinced at the beginning of the year, if you said to me,
frustrating,
if you said to me at the beginning, Before Storm, I'd be like, Before Storm and Life is Strange 1 are going to come to Switch. I just have a funny feeling they've been ported on iOS, on Linux, on like, oh my god, on like so many platforms. You're like, oh, it has to kind of be coming on Switch, and it's not. So like that in itself's mad. But couple other things in this. So
yes,
this will be released part of the True Colors Ultimate Edition, but then it's released as a standalone later this year. Available autumn 2021. So there's no official release date on that yet as a standalone. The other thing is that this is where it's divided a lot of the community. I've seen a lot of big reactions to all this. So it features improved visuals and animations. That's like one of the kind of quotes in there. And it's torn a lot of people because they think that they're going to do something that's kind of changing the original game a bit. Like, have you seen the screenshots from the first game as well?
And that's the thing. I think a lot of people are going back to memorable, like kind of like retro glasses, right? But really, it's not like Life is Strange was terrible. And we're talking about the remaster here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was actually Googling if that was right. Like, there's no way. But really, when we're talking about Life is Strange, it's like we're talking like they're talking like this. They're talking at a normal pace, but the mouth is just kind of going up and down at that point. There's really no sync there, but I don't think it's going to ruin the game. I think it's just going to make it exactly the way the developers imagined it, but now with the technology of this new engine that probably was okay. Stop, Adam.
No, because I agree with what you're saying. So, because like people are like, it's not a remake, so you have to define what a remaster is. Like, look at the remasters like Blue Point's done on like the Uncharted series, and they done a Metal Gear Solid. Like they've upped the visuals. Like I remember I played the HD collection Metal Gear like so many times. They've just upped the visuals and improved it. But there just seems people think that they may change certain things. Like they have to, for me, they have to improve the facial animations because like that was a big criticism. And go and look at any review for Life is Strange 2015. It's a big criticism. I wrote it and it's in Wikipedia. You can go and have a look at how many people criticized lip syncing. It was a big issue when I saw it. Not to take anything away from the game. I loved the game. But Adam, in that as well, let me take you to two tweets that I pulled up whilst we were preparing for the show. Okay, yeah. So Luke tweeted about this. So he said, and he gave us early reaction, he said, I'm also excited with what I've seen. Deck 9 and Square Enix seem to be very respectful with the content of the original game, referring specifically to the remaster. Also, I'll be very happy to get a new platinum trophy for this version, which I responded to saying, yes, Luke, can't wait for a new trophy. Because I'm all about platinums. Trust me, you'll see at some point where I'm like a trophy freak. He tweeted that, and that was in response to Michelle tweeting. So Michelle tweeted first. I think I should have started with him anyway. But so Michelle tweeted, retweeted the Remastered Collection, Dontnod tweeted, and he put 7 years when we had no publisher and started working on Life is Strange and created those beloved characters with Jean-Luc, Raoul, and the rest of the team. I never imagined I would see one day a remastered edition. That's huge honor, quite surreal. So he tweeted that. So I grabbed that. In itself, because I want to pull up one more thing he said, Michelle, but we'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, generally speaking, I think that they're just going to improve the lighting, give it a nice little lift. They're going to change maybe a couple of facial animations. They're going to re-record audio. Hannah Tell's not going to get disappeared. I'm very safe to put that bet down right now. So they're going to like retweak the animations a little bit. One thing I will suggest that they should do, because if you haven't, because obviously I played it across all things, the iOS port had a photo mode for Life is Strange, which is like, it's like it's when it's in there. Right? Yeah, of course it's built for it. So I would like them to do that if this remaster is being done. Every game has a photo mode now as well. And I feel like with Life is Strange, like people would go crazy for that in this community to have like a photo mode in there. It just seems naturally thing. So that's the only input I'm going to put. But generally speaking, I think like the community just kind of like, if you take it for a moment and like hopefully from what I'm saying, Square Enix takes like almost any other remaster. They've I don't think they're going to change anything. Like seriously, I just don't think they're wasting time and resources. Because like Deck 9's remastering all these, so it's like they've already split a team across True Colors and this. They're not going to go in there and rechange things and rechange narrative, storytelling threads, and everything else like that. It's going to pretty much be the same game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just like it would take away, like you said, it would take up way too many assets in a game. All they're going to do is just really just bring it out. And the fact that it's included into a package, right? It is going to be its own standalone, but really it's just included. That means that they kind of went through the same engine. They, like you said, up the shaders. I don't think they would have the time, the finances, the assets to really remake Life is Strange. It's just going to make it, updated. That's it. That's all it's going to do, which I'm hyped for.
Fully on board with it. I was going to say we could hold the end of the show at this point, but I want to bring up one more thing. So I kind of feel like we should kind of talk in between this. So again, this is from Michelle, another tweet. So someone responded to him, obviously talking about the remaster and stuff. Someone replied, so user Scarvora said, what happened to the Life is Strange rights? Why is Deck 9 doing Life is Strange games now? Does Square Enix have the full rights? Don't know, we'll never make another Life is Strange game, ? So we're going to address this issue. So he responded, this is Michelle's response. He put, Square Enix owned Life is Strange rights at the moment we signed with them as a publisher, like with almost every publishing deal. We were contracted to work on Life is Strange 2, like Deck 9 was contracted to work on Before the Storm and True Colors. Right now, we're focusing on creating our new exciting IPs. So this is like, people seem to have like misconstrued the news with like Deck 9 parting ways with like Square Enix, right? So let me establish something. Dontnod made Life is Strange. Square Enix owns the IP. It's almost the same principle as Hideo Kojima created Metal Gear Solid and Konami owns the rights to it. So you have to define it as that. Like, they haven't parted ways. Like, it's almost like a split. Like, they've kicked them out or something like that. It's more about the fact that, you know, Deck Nine are being like contracted to this, like, you know, and Dontnod have gone in a different direction. I don't know if Dontnod want to make another game or not, if they are making another game. So we don't even know if like their relation, people made it out like it was like a sour relationship and that kind of side. And you have to understand that we talked about in this podcast, they have 6 games in the works. Tencent owns a minority stake in their company now because they're part of that. This is like a different direction of the studio because remember, Dontnod, one of their first, was it their first game? Remember Me was a good game, but it was a commercial flop. Like, it was with Capcom, and Capcom are like even brutal in terms of Resident Evil, because like even Resident Evil does good sales, but like Capcom are like, that's not good enough. We need even bigger because like the expectations are such huge. And like since then, they had a big sleeper hit with Life is Strange, and now they've established themselves as a publisher working with, a developer working with other publishers, with I think like Bandai Namco for like Twin Mirrors, I think was self-published, but they've worked with other studios, they work with other publishers, and like they're building themselves into like being big, I think like, you know, big studio in that kind of sense. So like, I don't think you should misconstrue the news that like Dontnod is done with this. I think like I'm excited for what Michelle, Luke, the rest of the Montreal team are doing, because they should start something new. They've worked on 2 Life is Strange games for the past across the last 6 years. So I feel like for them, it's gonna be a very, very exciting opportunity. I hope Luke agrees with that, because he does watch this channel sometimes.
Right. No, that's the thing. I won't say too much, but yeah, I didn't get any sense that this was, you know, kind of a dirty move at that point. In fact, Square Enix could have gone to any different company, but they went with a spin-off name, not a canonical number, with a team that's already paid respect to Life is Strange. So it's already within the Life is Strange family. So I don't know. For me, I didn't really see any kind of bitter hate towards, especially Luke. Luke is a beautiful man. There's no way you can be bitter towards him. But I agree with you in that point.
Yeah, I just think it was really weird how people misconstrued this news. By the way, there was so many rumors flying before. It was like, oh, you know, Deck Nine and like Dontnod are like not talking Square Enix and this and that. I just think like you need to establish that, like, you know, Deck Nine might be at the helm of the next 2 Life is Strange games or 3 games, like who knows? But that doesn't mean that Dontnod, if they ever kind of approach the idea for it, Square Enix would be like, no, let's not do it. And I like the fact that they went for the subtitle name as well. It was like Life is Strange True Colors. I think the 3 would have been a bit overkill. Like, it needs a bit more space with stuff like that. And again, like it worked for The Walking Dead with A New Frontier. It was a good idea. It kind of went with that. And it worked for them. And I think like this is the same case with it. I just think like people are kind of like a bit too worried about like, oh, this is the bad kind of direction. I know Before the Storm is a very polarizing game. Even I had a couple of things where like niggling issues with it. One thing I didn't agree with 3 episodes. 3 episodes is like a car crash for me in like terms of episodic formatting. Because like, I think Tell Me Why is an example where I don't think it paced well. And same with Walking Dead Michonne as well. 3 episodes, it was like, it's just, I feel like you miss main important like things where you can flesh out characters a bit more. But generally speaking, I kind of wanted to bring that up because I think like it was just a bit of a weird reaction between everything else. And I feel like the messaging wasn't clear as well, because like in the build up as well, I don't know if you followed how much coverage you followed with it, but like when I was watching the stream, half the stuff leaked beforehand. So I was like seeing it on my Twitter timeline where it's like, oh, it's coming out this day, and everything else. I mean, the only thing that didn't leak was the trailer. So I was like, oh god, I was like, what a terrible time that is for that to leak. So that happened, and then what else happened now? There's something else that happened in between it. But it probably isn't important. But yeah, they had like little hits of like things like Square Enix in the build up to this, like, and so many like little spoilers and stuff came out about what this game's going to be. But yeah, to stop my rambling as well, I think like these guys are working on a new game in Montreal. I'm very excited to see what they're working on. I can't wait for it. I think it's going to have the same kind of vibes as Life is Strange as well. Like, I definitely feel like they're going to carry something like that ethos around with them and kind of like infuse it into a new game. But yeah, Deck Nine, I'm all game for them. They really like sold me on this trailer. Like True Colors was like, I was like, yeah, I'm hyped for it. I'm really hyped for it. I'm excited to see more for it. Like, share a couple of like trailers in between now and September. It's a nice window as well. I didn't expect it to come out late in September. I thought maybe like spring they might have like launched it a bit earlier, or like summer, but like they went for the September window.
September is a long ways away. You know, that it's crazy to think about, because I'm hopefully moving in August. Like I was telling my wife, Liz, who's also part of Games Groceries, you know, we're moving hopefully in August, and I'm like, the game is coming back after we move, like a month after we move. It's crazy to think about how far away this game really is. I don't know.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
you'll have to be settled in so we can start recording the episodes around that time as well.
That's the thing. I'm so thankful it's actually coming out September. It gives me time to settle, so that like you said, we can discuss some more. But yeah.
I imagine like, and I'll kind of wrap up because I'm wandering away from the actual subject. But like, this is going to be the future of the industry as well. If you're watching, like, I was working in the gaming industry like 2015, and the people are already talking about is E3 dying, and now it's like the nail in the coffin. If they're doing a 40-minute showcase like Square Enix and showing a Life is Strange game, and then you had Resident Evil only a couple of months ago, you're going to see the difference of it now. It's like, this is what's going to happen with like the industry, and they're going to do stuff like this. But yeah, let's see where Deck 9 goes with this. It could be like an absolute hit, the same in the same style as Life is Strange 1.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for it. I think Deck 9 really knows what they're doing with this. I'll discuss it on another episode, but there was one thing that Katie said on my podcast, and I was kind of questioning Deck 9's like 3-episode thing, and I was like, Katie, what do you think about that? She's like, oh, I think Deck 9 is a great company, you know, all this. I'm like, she got me. It's just like is still in the process, but you know, Katie's still great. She's good people, you know.
She's a lovely person. We will have words with her at some point about.
We'll have some words to say.
a lot of her stream was like that, so I kind of understand it. She was like, I don't go to this place that you think I was traveling, but yeah, I respect it. You know, NDA.
Yeah, totally. You can't really falter for that. No.
Yeah, like not at all. And I, as I said, like I'm completely happy for her. Very excited for like what she's getting as well. She deserved that opportunity to come back to the character. But yeah, I think like I think we're done here, guys. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of this. As I said, there'll be a bit more formatting. We've literally had to format this show in the last couple of days and like launch it in between a trailer announcement. You'll kind of see more structure in terms of topics and suggestions. Leave your feedback in the comments. Where I'm not like going to be very afraid of feedback. I've used it for like Laugh After Strange and Change series and stuff like that. But yeah, leave your feedback. We'll kind of like twist around the series. We'll try and get guests on. We'll try and do other things in between it. Adam, where can they find you if they want to check out your own content and not including me if they don't want to watch me?
So you can find me personally on Twitter at Ace the Grocer. But that's because, you know, Games and Groceries, Ace the Grocer. But you can follow us on Twitter with at Gaming Groceries for the Games and Groceries podcast feed. So Games and Groceries, it's a structured, more formatted gaming podcast where it has 3 segments: movie minutes, top 3 gaming news, and a discussion piece with sometimes a guest. Not this week, though, unfortunately. There's Games and Groceries. We also have another podcast called What's the Biz? It's just me and my wife talking about anything. It's a really fun time. You can find that on your favorite podcast platform. And then we also have a secondary YouTube channel called Evalt, where we put out like video essays about video games. We should be releasing a video pretty soon about Skate 4. So that's in the works. But yeah, Evalt is also where you can find us. But, you know, follow me on Twitter at Ace the Grocer. It's all summoned up there.
Amazing. I'll put all the links in the description so you can check us out. But I hope you enjoyed the first episode. This is probably going to be bi-weekly as well. So stay tuned. We'll have more topics, segments, everything to include. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. See you later, guys.
Take care.